So guys, Bungie just ended their second and final dev stream for the Edge of Fate expansion, and today I'm just going to be going over everything that was revealed inside of this most recent dev stream, to save you having to go and watch the hour-long dev stream itself. I'm going to be going over things like Kepler stuff, including a brand new activity within Kepler, world tiers, an epic raid that they mentioned, side quests, all that stuff. Then we'll go into portal, power, and progression info, as well as some other tidbits at the end. So let's go over Kepler stuff. World tiers, you have Brave, Legend, Fabled, and Mythic. Fabled and Mythic unlock after you beat the Edge of Fate campaign, and power is fully enabled in both Fabled and Mythic difficulty, so it'll just be more challenging, and will be rewarding you with higher tier loot, so think tier 3s and tier 4s. They didn't mention how we get tier 5 loot, but I'm guessing we get that at like probably doing ultimate level difficulty stuff, which they haven't really talked about much yet. Fabled and Mythic World tiers will also come with unique quests tied to them. In the post-game, an example given is that the Mythic quests will unlock a variant of the Destination armor for Kepler, which comes with a completely different set bonus to the normal version, which is really cool. Next, they go over free roam missions on Kepler. Kepler itself is split into 4 major regions, and each region comes with its own free roam missions, which are kind of like lost sectors, but are more complex in terms of mechanics. They also then mention fated ciphers, which when combined with destination materials on Kepler, can be used to purchase specific items at the destination vendor, and you can also turn your other planetary materials into the newer planetary materials if you want to do that. There's also a daily focus for Kepler, so each of the different regions within Kepler will be a daily focus, similar to what's going on Europa right now, where you have each of the different regions, I think, being like the hot zone for the week or something, but this will just be the focus for like the day. Stuff will be going on in that region of the destination, so you can get rewards from that. This destination will also come with its own form of attunement for both weapons and armor. Next, let's talk side quests, which flesh out more of the stories and people on the destination. Completing a region's main story quest will unlock side quests in that region, so you can either blitz through the entire main story, then go back and get all the side quests done within each of the areas, or go through the different side quests as you unlock them throughout the main story. And you can also replay all story missions, as well as do all side quests on the higher world tiers as well for better loot. Another thing that they mentioned inside of this section of the stream was the epic raid. Now they mentioned this a while ago, where with the first major update they'll be adding new stuff to the raid, like new encounters and new loot, but they also said that they'll be expanding the story of the raid here as well, so there might be some other stuff that they're not really ready to talk about yet, but it kind of just slipped out during this section, so this has me very excited. And then finally, they talk about the brand new Kepler activity, which they didn't want to spoil, but they heard a lot of people complaining that they didn't talk about a new activity, so they briefly talked about it here at the end. So they didn't want to spoil it during the live stream, so they didn't actually show it, but they did say it's like a combination of Vex Incursions and Wellspring. It's a match made with 3 players, and the best place to earn rerolls of the new exotic armor. But it is technically time limited due to how rewarding it is, but a timer will be visible in-game to let you know when it's next available. This is similar to the event that goes on Neptune. I believe it's the Vex Incursion, I don't know, but there was like a public event that would only show up like a couple of times, or like at specific times, and it would be very rewarding, so it's kind of like that in a way. Next, let's talk Portal. So we know a lot about the Portal itself, so most of the stuff they went over, we'd already known about it, so I'll just skip all that stuff for this video. But they do go over activity customization a bit more. So basically you can freely pick and choose what modifiers you want on a given activity within the portal. Now if you don't want to do this, you don't need to, but if you want to be getting some of the higher tier loot from specific activities within the portal, you're going to probably want to be customizing the different modifiers there to make it more challenging to get better rewards. And now let's talk power. So stuff we already knew here is that power is being reset back down to 10 as the base power, with the soft cap going up to 200 and the seasonal cap going up to 450, I believe, but if you grind enough you can go above that if you want. Next, artifact power is gone and is now put back into the gear chase. But one of the biggest changes here is that the cap on how much pinnacle loot you can earn is now seemingly gone, at least when it comes to the portal. I think things like raids and dungeons will still have weekly pinnacle loot lockouts, but apart from that, if you want to grind, you can to your heart's content with anything tied to the portal, which is basically everything else within the game other than stuff like raids and dungeons. Next up, Infusion Changes. Upgrade modules are no longer a thing. Instead, you'll use enhancement cores, and you'll be able to delete your old modules to then get enhancement cores and some glimmer back. But you'll then also have unstable cores. Now, I believe it was said maybe in a data video, but normal enhancement cores will be able to get you from 10 to 200 power, but then you'll be using these unstable cores to then infuse stuff above 200 power, and the seasonal power will reset back down once the next expansion releases, that being Renegades. Also, you'll be able to gain power exclusively from Crucible if you want, so that's neat, but it did mention that if you want to be getting some of that higher tier loot within Crucible, that will be based on your overall performance and might be tied to stuff like Trials of Osiris and competitive as well. Other things shown off were the seasonal hub and the reward track here, similarly to the heavy metal event hub where we had that event for a bit. This seasonal hub resets every week and has things like armor requisitions, which can give you some higher tier loot, and you can get 4 of these every week, 2 for armor and 2 for weapons. These are basically a new currency that you can turn into Zavala to get some neat rewards. And another thing to note is that the pass that you're seeing inside of this seasonal hub is completely free. It's not another paid pass, so don't worry, all these rewards that you're seeing are completely free and will be available at a weekly basis, which is really, really good. Then they go into conquests, which are the Grandmaster adjacent activity for the portal. These activities come with set modifiers that you can't change and some higher tier loot alongside that. But these are one-time drops each week, and you get 4 higher tier engrams for completing each one of these activities. And for those of you who want to get the Conqueror title every season, completing all the conquests is now the new way you'll be getting that seal. And do not worry, your gilded seal count won't be reset, so if you're 14 times Conqueror, you're now going to be a 15 times Conqueror once you complete it via this new method. And then some other stuff that they just mentioned randomly throughout the stream in terms of the raid. If you want to be power level ready for the brand new raid, all you need to do is complete the legendary version of the campaign, which you can do immediately, which is very, very good. So if you care just about being on power for the contest mode raid, just do that. But if you want to be gear ready, that means having like a load of different weapons available and armor sets available. You're going to need to put in a little bit of grind. And then they also mentioned at the end that Guardian ranks are also being reset to be more focused on the portal. So they're no longer going to include things like a solo dungeon or completing the newest raid on the hardest difficulty, and they're also not going to be expansion locked, so you're not going to need to do specific things within an expansion. It's all going to be tied to the portal. So once Edge of Fate launches, everyone will be set back to level 2, but just like how Guardian ranks worked before, once you get to those higher ranks, every season you'll be reset back to rank 6 and just go back from there. And that is everything of major importance that was revealed during this final showcase. I do have to say that I was quite impressed with all the stuff that is going on with Kepler. They did talk about secret stuff, but we had already known a lot about that anyway, so I didn't bring it up here. But all of it does sound pretty darn good. There's a lot of stuff to grind, which has me excited. I'm very, very interested in seeing how Kepler plays out with all the stuff that seems to be very replayable and accessible. So very interested to jump in and see how this next expansion goes. Fingers crossed it's really, really good. Sentiment around the game right now is really, really negative, so hopefully this expansion can change things around. With that all said though, that's your final breakdown for the dev streams going into Edge of Fate. Leave your thoughts down on these reveals in the comment section down below, and whilst you're there, if you've enjoyed this video, if you could leave a like and subscribe to the channel, I'd very much appreciate it. But with all that said, once again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.